If everyone is ready, obviously the hour is a little bit late. We want to get started. No? So we want to get started. The microphone will allow us to. We have over here a few Ilun Nishmats, so we'll go over and say them. Ilun Nishmat, Julia Bat Ilanit, Salim Solika Bat Simi, Menachem Ben Rachel, Idan Klol Ben Sharon, Israel Ben Esther, Nuriel Ben Sarah, Menashe Ben Yosef Moshe, Chana Bat Shaul, להבדיל 100 הבדלות, רפין של בן נתן רפואה שלמה, חיה דורית בת גאולה, גבריאלה בת שרה, אלינה אורנה בת חנה חנה, עוז בן מיכל, משה בן זכיה, נתנאל יצחק בן אליהו, and we have to mention also לא נשמעת פסל בת אברהם הלוי. Was it Ben? Bat. Okay, first things first, we want to give a big mazal tov to the Wednesday night shiur. It's the third week. It's been a little over a year since the last time I've been over here. Obviously, since then, a new location. Chazal teach us that 3 times, anytime something happens 3 times consecutively, it becomes a neder. It becomes a promise. It becomes solidified. So 3 times is a very strong number. This being the 3rd time that we're in this building. So Hashem, every one of us deserves a big mazal tov, especially all the guys who are involved. And all the Torah that comes out of here should be for their schut and they're married. And Hashem, the ones who are married should have shalom bayit. The ones who are not married, Hashem should get married this year. Hashem to full chuppah. And should only married to good things. Now, obviously, I don't know how much time we have. And I promise I won't go any longer than 2.5 hours. That's the minimum though. Nothing longer than 2.5, about Saturday. I hope you guys came, you guys ate before, so everyone's probably ready for 2 hours. I wanted to focus in with you guys on a few different inyanim, a few different topics, and we'll see what we can do. First things first, you have to excuse me if you see that throughout the class, if my energy is a little bit low, I'm on 1.5 hours of sleep and 2 cups of coffee. So the last 24 hours, I flew in, that's mamash. Yesterday was a shiur, another shiur, Hashem, from good things to good things. Hashem, I wish we zocheh to only go for good things. But, in my experience, the Torah mechayet ben adam. You come up to the bima sometimes, I know that I can say from experience, sometimes I come up on a Thursday night, Wednesday night to shiur, and I'm tired, the whole week is ahead of me. And I said, I'm so tired, I'm going to come to the energy now. You come up to the bima, you come up to the stage, and you start talking, and all of a sudden you start getting the energy. And the boys say, Rabbi, where do you get all the energy from? I don't understand. Please explain to me, where did all the energy come from? I tell them it's the Torah. I was dead tired before I walked in here. I want to go home and go to sleep. When I get on the bima, the Torah comes out. And then, Baruch Hashem, you see the fire starts to build. And we'll see that this actually has something to do with the topic that we're going to talk about tonight. I want to talk about, obviously, this week's parasha. Before we get into this week's parasha, we have to talk about a little bit of last week's parasha. Anyone who's followed me for a long time, they know that I tend to do that. I go a little bit at the end of last week, and then we incorporate into this week. At the end of last week's parasha, towards the end, we saw the Torah details out the vessels of the Mishkan. The Mishkan in English is called the tabernacle. Not the restaurant in Manhattan. The Mishkan, the one that actually was in the time when they were in the desert. It was the place where they worshiped God. And one of the things that Hashem decreed them to do at that time is to make the holy ark. What kind of ark did he make? A little bit lower, a little bit higher. Oh, a little bit higher. Now it's my nose talking. I didn't know my nose taking over the shiur. One guy told me I have a big nose. So, one of the holy vessels that Torah told us was the holy ark. Now, how was the holy ark built? Torah details out to us that there was 3 arks that were actually made. One was gold, one was wood, another one was gold. And when they were fully assembled, it was the golden one in the middle. The golden one in the innermost part. Then the wood, and then the gold on the outside. So we have gold, wood, gold. And Farshim come up and say, wait a minute. So nice and dandy. Thank you, Torah, for telling me that it was gold, wood, and gold. What does the Torah want to tell us of this? And I'll teach you guys, and I'll show you guys how beautiful the wisdom of the Torah is. Torah says, some people in life, they're so focused on being gold on the outside, they forget to be gold on the inside. Some people are so focused on what the other people think about me. How do I look? How do I present myself to other people? That they forget to be the person that they want to be inside. They allow themselves to compromise themselves to look better in the eyes of other people. They allow themselves to do that. Why? Because they want to be gold on the outside. The Torah says it's not enough to be gold on the outside. It's good to be gold on the outside. Torah didn't say there should be wood on the outside. Be gold on the outside. You also should be gold on the inside. A person needs to work on himself to also not only be gold, show everybody gold, show everybody, look how nice. But also to work on himself that he's a good person on the inside as well. Now, when I say this over to the guys in New York, it hits. People, they like it. Then you come over to Florida and it hits 10 times harder. Why? I can tell you personally, I get off the plane over here and you see it. As soon as you land, it's already all the gold drippings. You see them all over the place. And I remember last year when Daniel brought me over here to give the shiur. The morning, I think it was the morning before, the day of the shiur, in the morning, I was hungry. So I said, okay, I need to go get breakfast. So it happened to be, I walked over to Mozart Cafe over there on Collins Avenue. So I said to myself, they asked me, where do you want to sit, inside or outside? I said, look, I'm in New York, I'm suffering all the time to sit inside. Do me a favor, put me outside. They put me outside, and I'm sitting by myself. Okay, said, not so bad. I ordered whatever I ordered, I'm sitting down. And I observed something that I thought to be very funny. What was it? Well, I'll paint you an image. One of the guys, let's say he does cash advance, home warranty, whatever it may be. There's only two options. Or mold removal, but that's about it, okay? He decides, I'm planning myself a trip to Florida. He books his ticket, right? And then he opens up the Turo app to go book himself a car. And he puts in the dates. What car comes up? You have a Toyota Camry, Nissan Sentra, Nissan Altima. Skip. Say to himself, I'm going to Miami. I'm going to come in this type of car. Busha. So what does he do? He calls Avi's Exotic Rentals. Avi, Shomea? Put me in La Ferrari. Put me in something nice. Hook it up, Avi. I have the perfect car for you. In a drop top, convertible out there, beautiful car, yellow, purple, blue, pink, whatever color you want. Now, he books a car. Yeah? Now, I'll tell you one thing, you pay attention to yourself. He'll never park the car 5 stores down for the restaurant. No, he'll drive around the restaurant 5 times with the top down, music blasting. So everyone will see him driving in the car and wait for a spot to pull up in the front. And if God forbid he doesn't get a spot in the front, he'll pull up on the sidewalk. On the sidewalk. He doesn't want to go and drive 5 stories down. No, God forbid. He'll wait 20 minutes circling. Look how valuable his time is. 30 minutes circling. There's an open spot 2 seconds away. No, God forbid. I have to be right in front. Now, not only did I observe this, but it's okay, young guys, it makes sense. My team. Then I see a 60-year-old guy. Kid you not, the guy was in his 60s. Something out of a cartoon. You ever seen it in the cartoon back in the day when it was very fast winds, they would pull the skin back in the person's face like this? The guy's driving the car, I thought his head got glued back to the seat. And I was like, whoa. 60 years old, how do you get over here? At 60 years old, trust me, I don't want to be glued to my chair. So you say to yourself, how is it possible a guy who's 60 years old gets to this place? And believe me, he circled 3, 4, 5 times. What do you have to show off already? Go park the car and come eat. No. Chazal teach us, our sages teach us. Anytime you see a person who's elderly and he has somewhat of a crooked character trait, just know he also had it when he was young. Just know he also had it when he was young and he never worked on it. You know what Torah tells us? Torah tells you, it's nice, you want to be gold on the outside? Be gold on the outside. It's important. But if you don't allow yourself to be gold on the inside, you're never going to be gold on the inside. And when do you have to do the work to be gold on the inside? When you're young. It's hard to move a horse. Very difficult. When you're young, now is the time for you to do the work you have to do to become the gold you need to be on the inside. And why is that? Because if you don't do that work, you'll never reach your potential. You'll never reach the highest place that you can reach. You'll never be the best version of yourself that you can be. And ultimately, at the end of the day, Torah, what does it want from every single individual, every single one of you in this crowd, including me, including everyone in the whole entire world? Hashem wants from you only one thing. He wants you to be the best version of yourself. You know how I know? I'll give you the biggest proof. If you do a mitzvah, you do a good deed, you came to Shul Torah, you came, you sat down, you learned, you did something good, right? Did anything change in God's reality? Did His kingdom become bigger? His car became nicer? What changed? His wife became prettier? What happened in God's life after you did a good deed? Let's give you a lifetime example, yeah? A kid goes to school. He comes home, 7th grade. Abba, Daddy, look, I got 100 on the test. What? And he puts it on the refrigerator. I'm so happy. Now, did the father get more wealthy when the kid came home with 100 on the test? The house got bigger, yeah? Car got a little upgraded. If anything, it probably cost him money. Probably cost him money. Why is he so happy? Because the father's always happy to see his child succeed. Hashem, what does He want from us? To watch you succeed. Hashem says, I gain nothing from everything that I told you to do. I gain nothing. And nothing you'll do will change my reality. But the reason I want you to do it is because I want you to be the best version of yourself. I want you to reach the place that you're supposed to be. And I'll tell you guys a story. It's a real story that's brought down one of our earlier stages about a husband and wife you should never know who weren't able to have children. And they tried everything you could possibly imagine. Dudaim, the special berries, they went to the mikveh with the woman in the 9th month, everything you could possibly, IVF, nothing worked. Nothing worked. And then she remembered what it says in the Tanakh about Hannah, that she also was barren. And she came to Hashem, and the Gemara Masechet Brachot tells us many of the halachot of tefillah, all of the laws of prayer we learn from Hannah. How she prayed to Hashem. The Gemara says she was the first person to call God Adonai Tzevaot, which basically means the God of hosts. The Gemara explains, what does that mean, the God of hosts? She told Hashem, the Gemara explains, and I'm just going to water it down. And we'll understand this with a parable. The Gemara says, a poor man wanted to get a slice of bread from the king. And the king went and he made a whole banquet for all of his servants, and he put all the best bread you could possibly imagine. Pates, I don't know if you have pates over here. No? Only in New York? You have the best bakeries, best everything you could possibly imagine. And the poor man wanted to eat. So he came to the king and he told him, the one who has so much bread, would it hurt you to give me a slice? Hannah says, you give so much life, would it hurt you to give me one? And I searched it up. You know how many babies are born every second? 4.3. I don't know what 0.3 is, don't ask me, but 4.3 babies every second. Hannah came and said to Hashem, would it be so hard for you to give me one? You know what, Hashem? If you give me a son, I give you a son. You give me a son, I promise him to you. I'll do everything in my power for him to be close to you, to him to go in his ways. Her son became Shmuel HaNavi, one of the greatest prophets to ever live. This woman heard the story of Hannah, says, you know what, Hashem? Maseh Avot, Siman Lebanim. The things, the actions of my forefathers are signs for us. Abba, if you give me a son, I sanctify him to you. I'll do everything I can to him to be the best version of himself, to help people, to learn Torah, everything you can possibly imagine. And 9 months later, she gave birth to a baby boy. 9 months later. After everything she tried, 9 months later, she gave birth to a baby boy, right? This is the end of the story. He goes to school. The parents put him in the best classes, the best everything, tutors. And the kid is not the brightest bulb in the bunch. No matter how much he tries, it's not coming in. And he tries, and he tries, and he tries. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. 18 years old, he comes to his mother and he says, listen, Ima, I love you, Abba. I love everything you guys did for me, but it's just not working out. I tried really hard. It didn't work out for me. So I'm going to leave that life. I'm going to still live a kosher life. I'm not going away from religion. I'm going to run away from this idea of becoming a rabbi. I'm just going to go become a regular Jew. And he goes and he gets married and he lives his life really kosher, amazing Jew. Passes 120. He gets up to the next world. And he's sitting now in front of the heavenly court like our sages teach us. And he says, I'm not worried. I was a good person. I did good things. At the time, you're right. You were a great person. But we want to show you something. And then a curtain appeared to the right of the heavenly court. And he said, what's this curtain? And they opened it up, and a man walked out that was radiating light. One of the holiest people they ever met. He said, who is that? And I tell him, that's who you could have been if you would have lived up to your potential. Our sages teach us, you know what the hardest thing at the end of the day is? When you leave this world and they show you, you know what you could have been if you did everything you could to be the best version of yourself? You know who you could have been? You know what the heights you could have reached? And the hardest thing is you look back and say, wait a minute, this is who I could have been, this is what I could have done, and I didn't reach it, and now it's too late. And now it's too late, now I can never do it. Now's the opportunity a person has. And just because it takes hard work doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. Because you never know which action is going to be the one that breaks the camel's back. You never know which action is going to be the one that actually gets you there. There was a story, a few guys in Colorado during the gold rush, about 100 years ago. The gold rush was a time in Colorado where everyone was getting a lot of gold mining, yeah? So one guy, regular guy, decides I'm going to go out with a shovel. I'm going to start digging. Let's see if I find some gold. He goes, finds a spot, starts digging and digging and digging and digging, and he finds a few nuggets of gold. He goes home, he makes a dinner for his family. He says, look guys, I have a business deal for you guys. MCA, no, I'm kidding. Gold nuggets. Gold nuggets. His uncle says, okay, I'm going to give you the money. Go, let's do it. We're going to buy all the machinery and everything. They buy everything. They go to the site. They start digging. And a little, they start, the gold here, the gold here. But then, dry spell. And they stop, and they continue to dig for months. And nothing happens. Nothing is happening. Digging and digging, nothing's happening. The uncle, after about a month or two, tells him, look, khalas, we did our part. Let's cut our losses. We have a few gold nuggets over here. Let's go sell the machinery. We did our part. So they go to the local junkyard over there. They tell the guy, look, we have the machinery over here. Do us a favor, buy it. He goes, okay, I'll give you $400. It's used. It's a few months old. I'll give you $400 for it. So they sell it. They count the losses. They go home. The junkyard guy wasn't a silly guy. He says, wait a minute, something is up over here. He hired an engineer, a gold mining engineer, to go to the site. And the guy did all the numbers. He calculated everything, and what did they find out? That these two guys were 3 feet away from a gigantic gold mine worth millions. And you know who married it to now? The junkyard guy. 3 feet away. 3 feet away. Nobody in life knows at what point you're standing. Just because sometimes it gets a little bit difficult doesn't mean that you're exempt from doing it. Because you never know. Maybe this next step, maybe this next one I'm going to do right now, this is going to be the gold mine. Maybe this is the one that's going to make me be that person. Maybe this is the action, this is the thing that I'm going to do that's going to make me get there. Maybe. But how do we get there? How do we get to the place where we reach to be the best versions of ourselves? I want to show you what the Maor, one of our famous sages, says in Menachot. He quotes a pasuk in Mishle. And the pasuk says, Ki ner mitzvah v'torah or. Because a good deed is a candle, and a Torah is light. A Torah is light. If I give you a candle with no light, what's the candle worth? Not worth anything, right? You can't light it, you can't do anything with it. Okay, I'll hold it, maybe I can beat you with it. What can I do with the candle? Says the Maor, that it's nice. You can be a good person, you can do good deeds. But you need the O. You know what the O is? The light. The Torah, also this Mafia in Masechet Megillah, in Ta'anit. The Torah is light. And what does that mean? The Torah is your guide. Torah is the thing that guides you in life. If you're merited to have Torah in your life, if you're merited to get closer to Torah, you have a guide in life that teaches you how to be a best version of yourself, and it forces you to be aware. It forces you to be aware. One came to me last week, he tells me, Rabbi, how is it possible? I see a lot of guys who are dressed very religiously, who learn Torah, and they don't act properly. I told them they're not learning Torah. They're reading a piece of paper. When you learn Torah, when you actually learn Torah, it becomes a part of you. And it's supposed to change who you are. Last week I gave a class in someone's house, and the mother asked me, how is it possible, all of these things, I've never seen you, you always come with notes. I've never seen you one time look into your notes. I give a class every Wednesday in the office. I'm already a year and a half over there. The guy tells me, I don't know why you bring this book. You never open the book. All these psukim, they have them. How do you remember these things? I tell them, if I was just saying sentences, there's no way I would remember it. But because I live it, because I make it something that's a part of me, then I remember it. Because I make it something that's a part of me, then I remember it. I live these things. When I tell people that emunah bitachon, I live it. Not just telling from the side, yeah, you have to have faith in God. I live it. When I say, Lo alecha melecha ligmor v'neta ben chulim v'ten mimena, the Mishnah Berkevot is not for you to finish a job, and you're not exempt from trying, live it. If there's something you need to do, don't ask how, do it. If it's the right thing to do it, and watch how everything figures itself out. Watch. When we started the shiur, we didn't know what was going to be, how it was going to be, where. We said, Hashem wants it, we're going to do it. Hashem wants it. And I'm talking about not this shiur. I'm talking about the shiur that inspired the shiur, which was 4 years ago, when, I don't know if Daniel's in the crowd, but Daniel used to live in a town called Mill Basin in Brooklyn. And I, 4 years ago, said, how are we going to have a class in Mill Basin? We need to have a class in Mill Basin. So I went around and tried to form a class. And the rabbi told me, look, you have to give the class. I told him, I have to give the class? You have to give the class. Me? Okay. Maybe someone better for the job. No, you give the class. Okay. What about food? What about this? Kid you not, we started the class 4.5 years ago with 4 people. 4 people. Baruch Hashem, the class is much bigger now. Then came our dear friend who orchestrated this class, got inspired, and moved it and made over here. One action that I didn't know, not taking the reward for it. No, I didn't have anything to do with it, it's all Hashem. But I'm just telling you that you should understand what one action you do can do in the world. It's not for you to finish a job. You just got to take the first step. You take the first step and watch how Hashem will take care of everything else. Watch. You don't believe me? Try. You have to live these things. The Torah is a guide in your life. It forces you to be Elani. The Midrash says, you want to know what the Mashal is? Like a parable. A guy is walking in a dark alley with no light. He has nothing to guide him. What's going to end up happening? He's going to stumble. He's going to fall. He can trip over something, right? For sure. It says you can be a good person, but if you don't have a Torah, it's inevitable that you're going to come to stumble. You have to have something that guides you. You have to have something that guides you and helps you and keeps you in the right place. Torah forces you to be alert. It forces you to be alert about how you treat people, how you act, how humble you are, how much you value yourself, all these other things. So many beautiful concepts. The Torah says, this is what I want from you. And it forces you to be a better version of yourself, not just on the outside, also on the inside. And that way, when you reach to 120, when you make it to the next world, you can look back and say, I know that I did everything I could to be the best version of myself. And when that curtain opens up, you're staring back at yourself. Oh, now I know that I did everything I could. This week's parasha, it starts off, Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, talk to the Jewish nation and tell them to go bring something to light the menorah. Sheman, Zayit, Zach, Katit Maor. That's what the pasuk says. Olive oil that's been beaten for the illumination. Our sages say, what do you mean Sheman, Zayit, Zach, Katit Maor? You have to have a good beaten oil. Anyone over here knows how to extract olive oil? Anyone? Anyone went to a museum one time and you see how they do it? Rashi tells us it's a 3-step process. The first step is they put it in a mortar. And then they hit it with a beam. And then they put it in a mill. It says Rashi, which part of the menorah, which part of the oil do they use? The first drop that comes out because it's the most pure. Shlomo HaMelech tells us, when he built the menorah for the Beit HaMikdash, how did he purify the gold? He purified the gold 1,000 times. Anyone over here a jeweler? What's the highest gold? 24 karat? Shlomo HaMelech did 25 karat. Huh? 1,000 times he purified it. Why? I want to get to the menorah. What's the menorah? The menorah we have over here, how many candelabras does it have? 4 and 4, right? The one at the Beit HaMikdash didn't have 4 and 4. You know how much it had? 3 and 3. It had 6. Why 3? Why 6? Says Dan Yaakov, in Masechet Shabbat, he says, what's 6? Now, I don't want to take you guys to Pesach now. You guys are going to be having nightmares on Matzah. Avan, in a month's time, we're going to be in Pesach. And on Pesach Seder, anyone who remembers, we have a song usually that we sing. Echad mi yodea, echad ani yodea. Right? One who knows. When we get to 6, what do we say? Shisha, Shidei Mishnah. The 6 sections of the Mishnah. It says, you want to know what the menorah in the Beit HaMikdash was? That was the Torah. You want to know what light is? The Torah. You want to have light in your life? You want to have light in your life? You want to have guidance in your life? You want to know which route to take, where to go, what's the right move for you, what's the right thing to do? You need Torah. You know how many guys call me, Rabbi, should I do this business deal? Should I do this business deal? Should I do this? Is it right, wrong? Every question you can possibly imagine. Every question. And they call and they ask. And at the end of the day, they sleep like a baby at night knowing that I made the right decision. Hashem wants from you to do what? And I'll just finish with this. I don't want to take too much of your time. The Gemara Masechet Orayot. He says, it's halakha l'maaseh, by the way, this is one of the laws that we actually have. If a person eats too many olives, it causes him to forget. But if he drinks olive oil, he remembers. Imagine I told you right now, if you ate an orange, you would get no vitamins. But if you drink the orange juice, you'd get all the vitamins. You tell me, Rabbi, get off the bima, you're talking nonsense, yeah? What is the Gemara talking about? If I eat an olive, I'm going to forget. If I drink olive oil, I'm going to remember. Huh? What are you talking about? So I'll tell you. An olive, unrefined, that did no work, it can never hold anything. It's only when it does the work it needs to do. When it goes inside itself and says, you know what, okay, now I have to go look into myself, beat myself a little bit. What does it mean, beat myself? Go into my actions and say, wait a minute, what am I doing? It's only then that he merits to become olive oil and he becomes a better version of himself, and then he's able to remember. I know if you guys over here looking at the eyes in the crowd, they want to go laugh upon us. Huh? If you guys want to know how to make money, I'll tell you what the Gemara says in Masechet Brachot. And by the way, if you want, we're handing out printouts at the end of the class. It says if you dream at night of a little olive, you're guaranteed to have more parnasa come your way. Oh, everyone's going, by the way, little olives are printouts at the end of the class. If you want, put it on top of your bread and go to sleep. The Gemara says if you have a tree, if you dream about an olive tree, then it means you're going to have bigger family with Hashem. And if you dream about olive oil, that means you're going to have growth of Torah. We see that olive oil has a direct correlation with the Torah. Why? And why olives? Why did the Torah tell us olives? There's a pasuk in Yirmiyahu and the Nevi'im that says Hashem called us, the Jewish nation, a beautifully shaped olive. Do I look like an olive to you? Don't answer. Do I look like an olive to you? Because one time I asked this question, someone told me yes. I said it's not nice, okay? It's not nice. I'm not green. I'm 10. I don't look like an olive. Let Torah call me an olive. What's going on over here? Says, the Midrash in Shemot Rabbah gives a few answers. First things first, out of all the oils, what's the most praiseworthy oil? The highest oil? Olive oil. It says, so too if you're a Jew, you're very high. The second thing it says is that when it comes to olive oil, if I would mix olive oil now with water, what would happen? They would separate. That's the third answer. But before that, they separate, right? Hashem says, you want to know what's also special about you? That you're supposed to be special. You're supposed to be separated. You're supposed to be distinct. You're not supposed to be mixed into everybody else. And more than that, as you were saying, as I saw you wording it, where does the olive oil go? To the top or the bottom? It always floats on top. And the fourth thing it says, that olive oil is used to do what? To light. It says, so too the Jewish nation is meant to light up the world. We are meant to light up the world with our actions. And we can only light up the world when we merit to be gold on the inside and the outside. When you become a truly refined individual, everyone in the world sees you and says, that's what it's supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to be. And I'll tell you a story, and with this I'll finish. Anyone who's been to my classes heard this story before? Well, it's a real story that happened. It's a very sad story. Avi Yitzchak Fanger, he says a story. One time, he had a detective in San Francisco. This detective was in charge of homicides. He would go to every homicide and figure out if the guy, unfortunately, if he committed suicide, or if there was some type of something over here that was wrong, maybe it was murder. So the rabbi asked the guy, what's the most sad case out of all the cases that you saw? Because we once had a guy jump off the Golden Gates Bridge in San Francisco, took his life. When we went to his apartment to investigate, we found over there a letter. The guy wrote a letter. He said, today, I'm going to jump off the San Francisco Bridge. But if one person tells me hello, or if one person smiles at me, I won't jump. You know what that means? That no one smiled at him. No one told him hello. If you knew what one of your actions could do to help another person, If you knew something as simple as a smile, what it could do to help another person. How do you get to a place where you can help another person? How do you get to a place where you can give? There's a saying in English. You can't love another if you don't love yourself. How do you love yourself? You have to be gold on the inside. How do you become gold on the inside? You have to do the work. Now is the time to do the work. When we're young and we still have the capability, now is the time to do the work. And how are you going to know where to go? The Torah is your guiding light. Shlomo HaMelech, he says about the Torah, Darkea darkei noam, kol nitibotei shalom, etz chaim היא למחזיקים בה, וטומחיה מאושר. It says the ways of the Torah are ways of peace and tranquility. All of its past ways are peace. Hashem doesn't want you screaming at people now, no, what are you doing? No, peace. Talk to them, help them, explain to them. Etz chaim היא למחזיקים בה. The Torah is a tree of life for those who want to. You want life? When a married to real life, you have to hold on to the Torah. And by the way, Shlomo HaMelech was the wisest person to ever live. He not only was a king, he also built the Beit HaMikdash. He also had 1,000 wives. Today, guys can't even have one. He had 1,000. Yeah? 1,000. Everything you could possibly imagine. At the end of his life, he says, Kol hevel habelim. It's all a bunch of nonsense. Some people think it's worth it to give up on themselves for the money. They want to be good to the outside. They don't want to invest inside for the dollar. But I'll tell you a mashal. I heard this from Rabbi Avon Pesach. He says a Jew was walking, not a Jew. A guy was walking in the forest and he sees $1. What do you do when you see $1 on the floor? You pick it up, right? So what does he? He picks up $1. And what's under the $1? A petek, a letter. What does it say? Keep digging. So what does he do? Starts digging. And what does he find? A $5 bill. So what's underneath the $5 bill? Another letter. What does it say? Keep digging. So what does he do? He keeps digging. And then what does he find? A 10. And guess what's underneath the $10 bill? A letter. And what does it say? Keep digging. And then 50, 20, 100. Wow. He picks up the $100 bill and what does he see? Keep digging. So what does he do? He keeps digging. Now he gets to the $500. He picks up the $500 and there's a letter underneath. He picks up the letter and says, now let's see you get out of here. I looks up. What happened? Now I'm stuck. He dug himself into a hole. Some people in life, they run after money their whole entire life. And then they wake up one day and say, where did I get to? Where did I get to? My whole life I ran away after the dollar and I never worked on myself. I never loved my family, never spent time with them. I know a guy personally that booked a trip for him and his family after his wife harassed him for 6 months to book a trip to go to Eretz Israel, to go to the land of Israel. He booked the trip, sat on an 11-hour flight, was there for 24 hours and jumped on a flight back home. His wife called him because she didn't see him. Where are you? I went back home. She didn't even tell his wife. He left his wife and his kids, they went back home. And she asked him, what happened? I couldn't stake the idea that maybe I'm losing a deal. I'm in Israel right now, there's a $25,000 deal on the table. There's a car going through the auction right now, green light. We have over here, I don't know, a guy from the MCA, he's a contract to sign. I can lose $100,000 over here. So what's the money worth? You can't even enjoy it. To go on a vacation with your family, you can't do. What's it all worth? What's it all worth? Now some people say, okay, you know what, I'll enjoy, so on and so forth. But you have to understand it's not the ikar, it's not the purpose of your life. Don't sell yourself and don't sell your values for $1. Because everything you have and everything you need is already inside of you. It's already inside of you. מיהו העשיר, says the Mishnah Parkei Avot, השמח בחלקו. You want to be rich? Be happy with what you have. Richness is not about quantity based. It's about happiness. It's inside of you. But how do you get to be happy on the inside? Where you're not just gold on the outside. You have to be gold on the inside. Now's the time. Now's the time. And with this we'll finish. And we're all married with Hashem. 5 more minutes? Okay, 5 more minutes. Okay guys, one more story. 5 more minutes. What do you think? I'm a machine up here? Huh? So I do actually have another story for you. I'll do that. You another 35 minutes if you want. Baruch Hashem. I'll tell you one interesting point, and with this I'll finish. I only have 5 more minutes now. Purim. The Torah tells us the story. I'm not going to be here next week. So I'll tell you something nice about Purim. Torah tells us this whole story in the first chapter. About Achashverosh made a party. How long was the party? 180 days. Put puts every festival you ever heard of in the world to shame. 180-day party, non-stop. 180 day, Tiesto, Avicii, no, 180-day party. Crazy party, you can imagine. And after the 180-day party, he throws another 7-day party. Now this one, he invites all the Jews to. And the Jews say, hey, what's the big deal? Let's go to this party. Look at this gigantic party going on. Good things are happening over there. Who's there? Who's the Mashgiach? Who's the one who's koshering the place? Mordechai. Said, everything's all good and dandy, let's go. And Mordechai tells him, don't come to this party. But Rabbi, you're here. You're the one serving the wine. He's like, I have no choice. I work for this. What do you want me to do? I'm telling you, don't come. And they went to the party. And at that same time, a gzera, a decree came down on them from Shamayim. And in the second chapter it says, and it was after these things that Achashverosh gave Haman the key, and then Haman decreed it to la'arog, la'ashmid, la'abed, to kill and to annihilate every single Jew from the world. Says the Ram Sachin Megillah, after what? After what things? And the Gemara answers, after Hashem prepared the cure for the curse. It was only in this party that on the 7th day that Achashverosh calls Vashti to come down, and she says no. She doesn't just say no. The Yud Shemani in the Midrash says, she told him, who are you, you peasant boy, to summon me? And she, very sharp words. And he ends up putting her down. And that ultimately opens up who? Opens up Achashverosh to feel lonely. The next day he wakes up and regrets it. And now he wants a new wife. And who does he end up marrying? Esther. And what does Esther end up doing? Saving us. At the same time, the Chatam Sofer says something beautiful. He says, what was the miracle of Purim? That Haman was hung on a tree? How many times you see kings hang their generals? Going out to North Korea, you see Kim Jong-un over there, everyone's hung on a tree. No? And he says, so what? So that the king changed the decree? He says, a guy who's in love will change the decree all the time. And Esther tells him he's going to do. So what was the miracle? Says the Chatam Sofer, that at the same time that we were doing the thing that was wrong, Hashem, in that same moment, at that same party, already created for us a way to get out. What does it mean? In our lives, you inevitably will always find that you're going to have hardship, down times, difficult moments. But you should always know that before you got down here, Hashem already created for you the way to get out. And more so than that, Hashem is the person He knows. The Midrash tells us that Hashem never puts a person in a challenge you cannot overcome. And more than that, every challenge He puts you in is to make you a better person. Every challenge you undergo is to make you a better person. Hashem knows exactly what's good for you, and He puts you in challenges that work for you. One guy calls me and tells me, look, Rabbi, I don't know, I keep on fighting with my wife. I don't know what to do here. All the time, she's crazy. I told him, you're crazy. He says, why? I said, if you're having the same test coming up to you again and again and again and again, and you're not passing it, it seems to be you're not doing the work you're supposed to be doing. You're not learning what you're supposed to learn. And then we work together, me and him, Shalom buy glasses, and Baruch Hashem, now they're happily married. When Hashem brings you a challenge again and again and again, and it's repeating itself, that means you didn't learn what you had to learn from it, and you're not reaching the place you're supposed to reach. And therefore it comes. Because Hashem wants you to get to that place where you're a better version of yourself. That's where all the things happen to you. That's why the Midrash says, En davar ra yored milemala. Nothing bad comes down from heaven. Everything Hashem gives you is emet. And more so than that, ze bidyuk madud arecha. You know what that means? It's exactly fitted for you. Exactly fitted for you. Am I done all the time? I have another 5 minutes? With this, Mamash will finish, because I'm Mamash really on an hour and a half sleep. I think maybe you guys think I'm joking. This was on an hour and a half sleep and 1 coffee. I said 2, but it really was 1. Mamash, with this will finish. I heard a beautiful thing. One time, I don't remember the name of the person who said it, but I heard it over. My wife showed me this video. And she told me, the woman in the video says, Chevre, you have to hit the iron while it's hot. You want to shape it? You have to hit it while it's hot. You come to a class, you get motivated. Yeah, tomorrow, the next day. You know the guys with the diets? Yeah, on Monday I'm going to start the diet. Does he ever start the diet? He's not starting on diet. Today. It says today. If you get motivated, you have a feeling in your heart, today is the day to go hit the iron while it's still hot. You have the motivation, go do something about it now. Now's the time. Now's the time. We're still young, we still have so much to work on, so much to fix. I don't know about you, but I know that I want to get up to after 120, I want to look and I want to open up the curtain and I want to see myself staring back at me. And I want to know that I did everything I could to be the best version of myself. And I can tell you that I've merited through the Torah to be a better husband, to be a better father, to be a better friend, to be a better person. And all of those things I merited only because of the Torah. Anyone who knows me before, they can tell you. That's the truth. The Torah makes you a better person. It becomes a part of who you are, it becomes ingrained in you, and that's the purpose. To not just hear it, to make it a lifestyle, to make it something you live. Make it something that you live. And if we live it, then we'll be Zocher, to bring Mashiach again, we'll be Amen, Chak HaBaruch. If anyone needs to do Kaddish, they want to do Kaddish, you can do Kaddish if you want. Yes? Anyone? Huh? No, Nashim, unfortunately not. You can do it. You have? You have? You have anyone who's have Kaddish? Of course. Go do it. I'll have your brother and mine as well. Yes, sir. You have? over here, חיוב? קדיש? אוקיי, רבי חנן מקדש הקדוש ברוך הוא, יזכור לישראל לפי בעל המטרה משהו תלמד, אדוני חפץ, למען, צדקו, ידי, תורה, בוא לפה, תעמוד לידו. Maybe come stand next to him and do it together with him. מילה במילה. And also have in mind this tzadik's brother. The same, not the same. זה לעילוי נשמתו. אבל תעמוד לידו וזה. אוקיי, so maybe together, כן. לפיכך ברא להם תורה ומצוות שנאמר, אדוני חפץ למען שלא ידיל תורה ויאדיר. together, מילה במילה.
ישראל,